Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a day devoted to Boy Scouts today here at PAC 14. And starting off our show, we have Detective Jen Hall from the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office, and she's going to talk about the return of the Explorers. Welcome, Jen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So what is the Explorers?
Well, the Explorers is a career program that is through the Boy Scouts. Mine specifically at the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office. It's post 451, and it focuses on our middle school age, which is the club portion of it. But we have boys and girls, and they develop the career into law enforcement. They're introduced to certain things that we do, if they decide that that's a field that they want to get into, as well as focusing on community service. Giving back to the community is one of our main goals with that as well.
Well, the Sheriff's Office is a fascinating place, and I would recommend anyone go by there and see how it works. So these kids are probably pretty excited.
They are. This is our first full year that we've started. I'm very excited for this year. We have a lot of things planned. I have a great group of kids. Like I said before, they're middle school age, but they're eager to go out there in the community and make a difference.
So middle school is what, like 12 to 14?
Around that age, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Now, Explorers was here and they kind of went away for a while, but it's back?
That is correct. Many years ago, there was an Explorer group, and we decided to recharge it now and go forth with just trying to focus on that career aspect. But the ultimate goal is once they get their career and things like that, they invest in the community in which they're serving. So if you go away for college and things like that, they'll come back and be the next sheriff's deputy or state trooper or Salisbury police. So that's my goal.
So when these kids come in, do they have any clue at all?
Some do, some don't. Because of the Boy Scouts, they kind of prep them.
Right.
A lot of my members are part of the Boy Scouts already, so they have kind of a field of it. It's definitely a new experience for the ones who are not attached to Boy Scouts. So it's here or there, give or take, and it's a great experience because it shows you the inner workings of law enforcement as far as the Sheriff's Office is concerned, different avenues, and just prepping them for what's to come, which that's the career aspect.
Right. Boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
Now, any anecdotal stuff where you've maybe changed a kid or a great story that you like to tell about one of the kids?
Oh, well, we have such great kids. There's so many to even go through, but I tell you a good story, and I wish he was here. One of our own deputies used to be part of the Explorer program when it first started.
Wow.
Yes, Deputy Jeff Heath, and he assists me in this program last year, and just vital hearing his story as how he was an explorer, became a dispatcher, and then became a police officer. So, you know, it can come from anybody and anywhere. And the ending of his story is so great because with the Explorers having that as a foundation, he's giving back to the same community in which he served when he was an explorer. And he's given that education portion and that career. We want to give it back to the community. That's my biggest goal with this program,
right.
And he's a great story for it.
Right.
You know?
Just instilling that in the kids, just so they know that they should give back.
Absolutely. I feel if you instill it at a young age, it just continues to produce great people and great morale and just a great character. I volunteered very young, and my mother, that was one of the things, volunteer, give back, stay humble. And now I found myself as an adult right here in the county. I get to serve the public every day, and you know, it feels great. I know a lot of people from when I was young, and you know, now I'm seeing their families grow up. So there's a story behind it, and I'm hoping that that's where this path leads these kids. Yeah.
Tell me your story a little bit. How did you end up getting in the sheriff's office?
Well, my story starts with me actually leaving Wicomico County. When I was 18, I joined the military. Shortly after that, I came back home once I got out the service, worked at the jail for a little bit, and then I became a deputy sheriff at the county. It was right in front of me. I saw what they were doing every day, and it was one of those things where, again, I just love to serve. And it was instilled in me at that young age why I went to the service. Then I became corrections, and now police. It's ingrained. And once you affect kids at that age, I mean, you can mold them and mold the minds and make them into positive characteristics and positive people for the community. And that's where my story took me. So I'm just trying to share my experiences and just what it does to the community when they see, when you invest in it. That's the best way to put it.
Right.
You know, I was invested in it, and now with my free time, I'm trying to make sure that these kids know the value in their community, want to see it flourish, and want to see it beautiful and help out the less fortunate, as well as just, you know, instilling that in there. They want to give back.
Right. So you started at the detention center.
After the service, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you do there?
I was a correctional officer, for several years. And again, being part of this county, you know, it's just that deep root that was instilled at such a young age that I was like, oh, what else can I do to give back and to serve my community, protect and serve them, and go on dog calls to, you know, emergency calls to any other calls that may come my way. It feels great to give back and to just to see the positivity that I can give.
Well, the times that I've been in the detention center, there's so many like shocking, awful stories that where people come through there, and I could see where by then it's too late for anyone to do anything basically. But now you're in the sheriff's office and you're in a position where you can kind of prevent this stuff, especially with young people.
Absolutely, it definitely gives you something to think about. The 2 years I was there, it hit me, what else can I do? I do speak of my time in there and my time in the military when I come across folks and let them know that, you know, tomorrow's another day. And I like to say, you know, you're hitting speed bumps, not a brick wall. So we can all recover. And even when I have to arrest somebody, if they're willing to hear what I have to say, you know, it's normally, you know, don't let this be a brick wall. Let it be a speed bump. Anybody can correct that behavior with the right guidance. And sometimes people just need to hear that positivity, not so much what you're doing wrong, negative all the time. It's right. What can I do besides lock you up? I can give you good advice. I can give you resources. I can give you programs. And sometimes with the parents, is it too late? You know, who is that to say? But can I affect that child?
Right.
Their child doesn't have to continue in that cycle. So with that, some of these kids may have parents in the system or been through the system. Well, this is another side. You get to see officers doing their job, but the part you don't get to see, the behind the scenes. I get to speak to them one-on-one. They get to ask me questions that normal society doesn't know the answers to. So.
It seems to me you're lucky to work at the sheriff's office because the people I've been exposed to there are great folks. They really are.
Yes, I work with a great bunch of men and women. There'll be 13 years coming up soon, and I mean, I wouldn't take one day back. I absolutely love it. It was a great move for me, especially being in contact with the community that much more. In the jail, you're kind of isolated.
Right.
But being able to do community events and with the Explorer program and just branch out as far as I could reach. If I change one person, you know, change the way that they go or cut that cycle, whether in their family or anything like that, then accomplished. I feel it's accomplished.
What kind of kid should I be sending to you?
Somebody who's motivated. Because you have to have the stamina to keep up with our community service. We serve Halo, we do collection drives, we've been out at Walmart collecting for the Humane Society. So my group does quite a bit. We do have Operation We Care coming up. We'll be helping pack those boxes.
Excellent, good.
Yes, so I stay on my kids, making sure, because, you know, it's not a right to be in this group, it's a privilege. So we want to make sure when we're molding the explorers, they have different characteristics that build that person. And one is being studious and being on top of that and multitasking. So just as long as they can keep hold of their grades and they're motivated and ready to work, because that's what it's about. And if they're interested in law enforcement, come on, see what it's about.
Do you have a regular day or time that you meet?
We do. Last year, it was the second and third Tuesday of the month. We usually meet between 6:30 and 7:30 at the sheriff's office, unless we have something scheduled. I do like them to see other careers as well, not just law enforcement. I expose them to the fire departments and things like that. So I definitely want to branch them out, as well as teaching them what we do, but to know that if they decide to be a firefighter, come back to Wycomico and be a firefighter or a teacher or a judge. So that's where we go with that. This year we do have a calendar that I give out to my members, and we're going to make it about once or twice a month again, 6:30 to 7:30 on a Tuesday, unless something else is scheduled. But yeah, if they're ready to rock and roll and get back, I'm here for you.
So where can I find you online?
Well, we do have a Facebook page. It's the Wycomico County Explorers, and post 451. There you can message me if you need further information, but you can also see some of the things that we have done in the community.
She's Detective Jen Hall with the Wycomico County Sheriff's Office. They're doing the Explorers Club up at the Sheriff's, and we're thrilled she was here today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Joining me now in the studio is Harmony Wilson. She's an actual explorer with the Salisbury Police Department. Welcome, Harmony.
Hello.
So why do you do this?
I do it because I love helping out the community. It's so great to see the kids' faces, to see the parents' faces when we go out and we help out. Because since we're younger, it shows the kids that you don't have to be older to do something in the community, to help out, to just do anything that's gonna better your the community, or it's gonna better your life, because it helps everybody's lives when you're in this program. It's a great program, and I love doing it. It makes me feel good inside. It makes me happy that I'm helping other people.
What a great thing. What have you learned since you've been over there?
I've learned a lot. I've learned how to fingerprint. I've learned...
That's a good skill.
Yeah. I've learned how to be patient. Since I'm the president, I have to, people might come to me and I'm like, okay, that was a question that probably could have been found, but I'm like, oh, well, here, this is how you find it, or when I'm out in the community, kids will come up to me and ask me questions, and I learn how to kind of communicate with them or their parents, and not be more what's the word, vocal and confident in myself, because I have to talk to a lot more people than I had to before, and honestly, it's really good. It's a great skill to be confident, because then it's gonna bring you so many places in life, and that I think that's the main thing I've learned.
Are you mostly there in the headquarters, or do you get out on the street, or how does that work?
So we have 2 meetings a month, and then we have a certain amount of community service every month. It depends on who needs help in the community. If Walmart wants to have a safety day, we'll go and do fingerprinting there, or schools have safety days, or there's sometimes we go and read to schools, and it just depends on what there is out in the community, and we try to go to every one of those events, and it's kind of a good blend. So you learn the things in the classroom that you, in the police department, that is going to help you for the event that you're going to do, and then you just go out and do it, and then it's kind of just a good blend of both.
Do they listen to you over there? Do you feel like you get the respect?
Yeah, I feel like I do. People, I think I walk in and people are like, oh, I know her. I don't know where I know her, but I do know her. And then I do know, I've formed relationships with a good amount of police officers. So it's always good to have them in your back, because if anything happens, you could call them and they'll come and help you. Because Corporal Loring is always if anything happens, you could call us, because we want to help you. And it's just awesome to have somebody in your back. And same with Kim, she's always oh, I'm gonna do whatever I can to help you succeed, and if you need somebody to talk to or anything, I'm here. And it's awesome. Right,
that's Kim Parsons, your district executive.
Yeah.
Who we're going to talk to a little bit later, but yeah, she's terrific. She really is.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So do you also maybe find yourself kind of being an ambassador for young people, so you can connect what young people are thinking and doing to these officers?
Yeah, because a lot of times I have siblings and they'll be oh, blah, 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 they'll just say something that to do with cops, and they don't know, and I'm no, this is what it is. And sometimes they ask me questions, and I'm oh, I don't know, but I can ask Or same with like kids in the community. Like if they ask me a question, I can be like, oh yeah, I can bring that up, or whatever. Like if they need help, I'm always like, oh yeah, I will go and ask for you if you're afraid to ask or whatever. And it's a great opportunity. Like I love being able to be the person that like helps out the kids and stuff.
Right. And that must be interesting because people have so many misperceptions about police officers.
Yes.
And you get to explain really what's going on.
Yeah, it's crazy because like a year and a half ago, I got foster kids in my house, and they were pulled out of their house from like cops, and so they thought cops were bad. And so
Right.
like I explained to them, no, like cops did this to protect you, like, and now like a couple of them want to be like cops. They're like, oh yeah, I want to be a cop when I'm older, and I'm like, oh yeah, like it's awesome.
That's an important role to
Yeah.
have.
It's awesome. It makes me feel so good. I'm like, now that instead of being, I don't know, like out on the street or whatever, they're like, oh, I want to be a cop. And they know that to be a cop, they have to do a lot. Like they have their whole life, they have to be like on a good streak to become a cop. And then they get that mindset and then they follow it. It's awesome.
Do you think you're going to do that when you graduate?
I'm not sure what I want to be yet. I right now am majoring in science, but I'm not sure 100% what I want to do.
You're a freshman
Yeah.
at Salisbury?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fun.
Would you do criminal science or?
No, it's biology.
Okay.
I don't know what I want to do. I might want to be like a forensic person, or if I decide I'm not really for that, I always have a police officer in the back of my pocket, because they're always like, oh, you want to come get a job at the police department? I'm like, I have so much stuff I have to do now. I can't get another job. But
So where'd you get the idea to do this? What possessed you to want to be an explorer with the police?
so in high school, I did the CTE program at Parkside, and there's the criminal justice one. And at that point, I was like, oh, I want to be like a detective or something. And so I was like, oh, let me do this class. And so I did it 3 years in high school. And Corporal Loring, he came in, and he was like, oh, if anybody wants to do this program. And I was like, oh, yeah, I want to do this program. And I was just like, I'll just be like in it, like I'll help out and whatever. And then they had like elections. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to be the president. And then all went well, and I was the president. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's kind of what made me, was like, oh, okay.
Well, someone told me you're the best explorer they've ever had.
Well,
Did you know that?
no, I did not know that.
I mean, that must be a heavy burden to be the
Yeah.
best explorer ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of scary, because then I'm like, okay, like if I can't make it to something, then I don't know, I'm like, oh, I hope somebody else makes it, because I feel like I'm always like trying to go to everything, but then sometimes schoolwork or I'm busy or anything, and I'm like, I hope somebody else went, because I don't want to carry all the burden of the explorers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In your peer group, what would you tell people who might be interested in this? Why would you make them want to do this?
It's, even if you don't want to be anything with law enforcement, or even if you like something like a lawyer or like something, it's really good for, you get to learn, you get to grow, your like personality gets to grow, you get so many community service hours and get to meet so many people. Like I've met like the mayor, I've spoken in Annapolis, like it's like I've gotten so many opportunities from this, and it's also a really good thing to put on your resume. It's like, because people like, out of a person that didn't do explorers and did, you're like, oh, okay, this person worked with the police department. They must have some type of like more responsible or something, because police department, and they like corroborate with that, with like responsibility.
Right. How many hours do you put into this every week?
Every week, it depends on the events we have. If we don't have any events that week, then I don't really put any hours into it, but if we do, then I try to go to as many as I can. It really just depends on what's going on the week of that is going on. In the summer, it's a lot more hectic, so like it's like event after event, because the summer it's more and people will have events.
So has this changed you? Do you see a change in yourself?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's made me into a better person, more patient, more understanding to people's situations, less judgy, because I'm like, I see in our group there's such a range of people, and their personalities are so different, and it's honestly such a great experience to be able to grow with them, and get to know about them and their personal experiences, because it impacts your life and it makes you feel like you're connected to them. And it's changed me because I feel more responsible. I feel more like a leader. Because I feel like I was a follower before, because I was just like, oh, you want to go do that? Okay, let's do that. And now I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And I feel like it's impacted me in that way.
She's Harmony Wilson. She's an explorer, Scout Explorer over at the Salisbury Police Department, and we're thrilled she was here today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Joining me now is Kim Parsons. She's the district executive with the Tri-County Boy Scouts here in our region, our community, and we welcome her today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So tell me about this thing with the girls being in the Boy Scouts. What's this all about?
Well, it started last year. The National Boy Scouts decided to allow girls to join the Boy Scouts, and that was something that was asked for by the parents. They did surveys amongst parents, and parents wanted their girls to join. And so we started it off initially with the Cub Scout program, allowing girls to join and form girl dens in the Cub Scout program. And then this year we added in troops for girls. So they have their very own troops. They're not intermixed with the boys. And they get to do all of the scouting activities just as if, the boys, and they are eligible to work towards their Eagle Award.
That's really cool. Now, never having been in the Girl Scouts, obviously, was it really different before?
Well, before it was boys only.
Right.
And
but for the girls, did they not do the same kind of stuff, or?
Well, the Girl Scouts of America is a completely different program.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with it as far as my
Gotcha.
own personal experience, but they're completely different programs. And what was happening was girls were tagging along to Cub Scout meetings
Right.
with their brothers, and so they were unofficially participating. And so we just made it where they can officially participate and actually earn the ranks.
So it's going well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So tell me, if I'm a parent and maybe I'm skeptical about scouting, lots of talk about scouting, what's the advantages of having your kids in the Scouts?
Well, scouting offers a lot for the youth in our area. It offers leadership development. It offers character building. It gives them outdoor experiences. They get to experience a lot of different things that they wouldn't normally get to. For example, at our camps, we have things like leatherworking and welding, and the average kid isn't going to have the opportunity to try those things.
Right. I remember, when I was in Scouts, it was 100 years ago, but what I learned really was discipline and patriotism. I remember that, like the feeling of the overall picture.
Yes, and Boy Scouts, they have their 13 basic merit badges that all boys, no matter where they're in scouting at, have to earn the same 13 merit badges. And in those merit badges, they have things like personal finance, citizenship, and public speaking, things like that. So they are learning a lot of basic life skills that will help them in the future with college and their careers.
And I've always been told that our community is really good in terms of Scouts. We have high participation, a lot of interest.
We do. Last year, we ended the year with 965 Scouts in the Tri-County area.
Wow. So they're troops. I remember I was in a pack in the Cub Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Cub Scout packs, and then we have the troops for the Scouts BSA program, which was formerly the Boy Scout program. And then we also have 2 exploring units currently in the Tri-County area.
So if my kid maybe wants to join Scouts, how do we go about that?
There's several ways that they can join. They could go online to beascout.org and find a local pack, or they could contact me by calling me or email, and I could give them more information about scouting.
Now, these are sometimes sanctioned through some churches, or how does that work?
I
remember the one I was in was Bethesda United Methodist Church.
Yes, and they still sponsor
Right.
a Boy Scout troop, Troop 149.
Right, and they still have the spaghetti dinner.
They do. They do.
Right.
That's their big fundraiser for the
Yeah,
year.
that was the big thing we worked on every year was the spaghetti dinner. It was fun.
Yeah. So we do have several churches that sponsor, and then we also have service organizations like the Elks Lodge and the American Legion that also sponsor.
There's certainly a lot of interest in the boys' troops. How about the girls' troops? How are they doing?
It's growing. We currently have a troop in Ocean City, and they have, I think, 13 girls. and we are in the process of getting one started here in Salisbury, partnering with Asbury United Methodist Church.
So the Boys and Girls Troops are separate, but they do some things together.
For example, the troop in Ocean City, they're partnered with a troop for boys as well. So there have been some partnerships like in camp outs and things like that. And then the girls also have attended summer camp, which, it's boys and girls at summer camp.
How did you get involved in Boy Scouts?
Formerly, I was a vocational counselor in mental health, and so I just happened to see the job posting and thought it would be a fun job, and I applied, and here I am 3 years later.
Is it a fun job?
It's a lot of fun.
Is it one of those things where you feel like you're changing kids' lives?
That's why I'm here, actually, is I felt like I wasn't having a big enough impact on the adults working in mental health, and I thought that in our community there needed to be more of an impact on our youth to prevent some of the issues that are going on.
What do you see going on with kids these days? What's unique out there?
As far as the issues?
Yeah.
I think parents are very busy, having to work multiple jobs to support, so the kids don't have as much parent involvement, and the younger generation of parents, I don't think see the need to have their kids involved in structured activities. So I think kids are given a lot of free time, and it leads to getting into trouble. And there's a whole array of different issues out there. There's generational poverty, all kinds of things. So I'm out there trying to get as many kids as I can involved in scouting, because I figure, I hope that getting them involved in scouting, I can prevent some of these things that are going on out there for some of the kids in their futures. We currently have an outreach unit over at the Salvation Army in the west side of town, and we have 38 boys in that unit right now, and that is a free program that we're offering to try to get the youth engaged in those at-risk communities, to try to give them some other experiences than what they're already getting, and hopefully we can keep them from getting into trouble in school and in their futures. Scouting is definitely a family program. It takes the help of everyone because it is a volunteer-run program, and for it to run successfully and to be a great program for the kids, we definitely have to have parent involvement. So, if it's something that parents are looking to just drop their kids off and run, then
right.
Scouting is not the program for you, because Cub Scouting, and Boy Scouts, there's camp outs and things like that, and it takes planning, and there has to be so many adults present for those events to take place. So it's definitely a family program.
Yeah, scouting's been around so long, I think people have this idea that they know all about it, but they don't. I think it's something that's really evolving.
It is, and I actually, since I've taken this job, I get asked all the time. People aren't even aware that we still have scouting in our community. So it was a personal mission of mine when I started getting those kind of questions to make us more visible. So I definitely get our units out there in the community in uniform, and so people know what we're all about.
She's Kim Parsons. She's the district executive for our Tri-County District Boy Scouts, and we're thrilled she was here today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.